25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? That feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios on O Street.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a few flurries are possible, otherwise mainly sunny and calm with the high around 37. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and a low near 20. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and a high near 34. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 3rd is $3 off on bacon, 25% off hanger steaks, 20% off all summer sausage, and 20% off all cheeses. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Problem solved with Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here at the Big Eight tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome into On the Block, Strick and Austin with you. Austin Norman in the 93.7 The Ticket Studios in Lincoln. East Strick on the road. Partner, how you feeling today? How you doing?
The day after Thanksgiving. Thanks, everybody, and again, for your support of us on the block. But more importantly, thank all the families for just the time that they were able to spend together. Hope that all was safe and all was well as we return on this Friday to get ready for the weekend. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and your loved ones and enjoyed the meal as much as I did. I had a great time with my mom. I actually surprised Mom.
It did work out.
It worked out. It worked out. So what happened, Austin, is I picked up my sister from the airport. And so, you know, initially she was going to go home, get her car, but it was a long drive for her to do that, to go from Fort Worth to Midlothian. So I said, look, I'll pick you up and I'll pretend to be like your Uber driver. And when we get to the spot, you let Mom know that you need help getting your bags in, to the house and have her come out. So she comes out. I'm on the other side of the car. She's like, Mom, can you get that backpack on the other side from the gentleman? And I'm holding the backpack out. She walks around and she says, hi. I have my hood on, my glasses on. And she looks, but then I couldn't take it because it was fun. So I started laughing and she looks back up and she said, oh, and she makes this funny noise. And then she kind of shed a tear and laid her head on my chest and gave me a big hug, and we had a good day. Good fun. Dang.
You good?
Me. Also,
you make it? Yeah, there we
go. Okay. And also, Sana Witherspoon is a good friend of ours in the family, and we've been long friends for a long time. Sana Witherspoon is a former Husker women's basketball player. Mm-hmm. So she was at Nebraska at the same time I was there, and she lives here as well, and our family still are in touch. And so it was good to hang out with them and our family as well.
That's awesome. I am so glad you had the opportunity to do that. I'm so glad you're surprised on your mom worked. I'm glad she wasn't listening that day, Stricky. I'm glad it all came up. Stricky, you delivered the nice bottle of wine as well, I presume.
Oh yeah. We had a really good time, laughing, singing, just the kids were running around. It was just a great time. And then again, the weather's beautiful, and so you know where Stricky's at.
Yeah, it must be nice. It is maybe 30 degrees outside, and it is gray, a little blustery here today. So yeah, rub it in, enjoy it, because you're back here with me on Monday. I'm making sure that you are dealing with the same stuff that we are. Let's just get this out of the way too. Stricky, we know that you were a dog on the court. There is a dog barking behind you. What's the dog's name?
If there's a dog behind me, say it again.
There's been a dog barking in the background a few times. What's the dog's name? You know whose dog that is?
I don't. It just I'm happen to be outside and so on the patio, and so therefore there's dogs are being walked and so forth and so on. So that's really all it is.
All right. Fair enough. I would say if you know the dog and you want to bring the dog on the show, I'm sure people would.
No, there's a little cat running around here, and she her name is Sheba, and she's a mess. She's a mess. That's for sure.
That's funny. 402-464-5685. What was the best thing you ate for Thanksgiving? Let us know. Cubsker says, hey, happy holidays, gents. Hope Thanksgiving was great. It's been a busy week in the post office. It's only getting started. Shout out to everyone in postal package work. Be safe out there. And of course, all caps, GBR beat Iowa. We will get to that in hour 2 of the show. A full Husker football hour coming your way before a full pregame show starting at 4 o'clock. Big thanks to A1 Automotive and plenty of other sponsors for that. But in the meantime, we have plenty to get to, including some college basketball, some NFL, and some Buffalo wings and rings to give away to you. Cubsker, appreciate you. What was the best thing you ate yesterday, Stricky?
It was all good. The yams were phenomenal. The greens were quite tasty. Turkey was cooked right, nice and tender. Ham was solid. Listen, I got an extra plate in there, and I might take a break in one of the commercials and go in there and nibble on some of it. It was so good. Brought home half of the. I told you I wasn't going to be. Mom made it. I wasn't going to be bad and take all of the doggone sweet potato pie, but I did definitely grab half of one. And just need to stop at the store, get me a little ice cream, and do what I do, and that's heat it up and throw the ice cream on it, let it melt, and go to work. That's going to be part of the plan as well.
Hey, speaking of go to work, we got a question from the text line here, Strick. It's from texter number 1000. Is Chucky Hepburn going to make the league? He put up 29 yesterday. Is Chucky Hepburn a better basketball player than Bronny James?
Oh, is that a question? No. So, I would say Chucky is definitely skilled on the defensive side of things. He plays larger than what he actually is as far as his side. Very similar to me, in that he's capable of playing against larger guys. He knows how to leverage. He knows how to use his footwork. He knows how to create angles to make it tough for guys to have entry passes against him if he's at a disadvantage. Definitely out front, he's good at understanding guys' dribble cadences and things like that. Knowing what they like to do. Do they like to cross over? Do they like to spin? He's very cerebral like that, like I was in that manner defensively. Now he's a little bit more subtle on his attack, but he at times when he feels it or he feels like he needs to do that, he's capable of being on the attack, and he does that from time to time. Sometimes he's just really relaxed on the offensive side, setting guys up, but when he's in attack mode, he can be special, and he's got a nice floater. His jumper is on off at times, but he will get better at that. I think Chucky has a tremendous opportunity to make it in the league just because of what he does. He's a setup guy. He runs the show. But on top of that, he has the capability of doing things offensively that they would like as well. So I would say yes, that is the case. He's definitely has more heart right now. No pun intended. I know that LeBron has Jr. has dealt with some heart issues, but on top of that, I think he has a drive, and that was built in him by way of Greg Hepburn. He trained them, he raised them. He didn't coddle them. He gave them, the hard way. They had to work for everything that they got, and he's shown and proven that. And shout out to them and what the success that they've started there at Louisville this year.
First game down in the battle for Atlanta's Chucky Hepburn, 16 points, 10 assists, and 7 steals in a 28-point Louisville win over Indiana. And then yesterday, a classic Big East battle. This is the Big East I grew up with, Stricky, was Louisville, West Virginia, Pitt, UConn, Syracuse. Oh, I will forever miss and adore that conference. But against West Virginia, who beat Gonzaga to open the tournament, Chucky goes off for 32 points on 8 of 12 shooting, 14 of 17 at the free throw line, 2 of 5 from 3, chips in another 6 steals as well. I'm with you. I have nothing to add to your analysis of Chucky other than I think he would have been a perfect fit for the NBA that you played in, but he's got to get the jumper up and consistent, like you said, if he wants to stick in this current NBA.
That's true. That's true. Because that's what they do. But I think we can dig into this at some point in time, but I think this is why a lot of people are being turned off. I think a lot of people would love to go back and see the way that we played the game in the prime of my time. Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I think guys loved that part of it. It's in some ways that guys are turned off, in other ways in other sports as well. This is why I think they really like the college games, that whether it be college football or college basketball, it still remains some purity to it, right? They still have a lot of aspects of what we used to do on the college game. They're letting them body up and be a little bit more physical in some aspects. They're playing great D. They're running and running a lot of offense. They're just not settling for threes. And the teams that do, some have success and some don't. But those who are pretty traditional, they continue to attack and they'll post up and they'll do different things as far as running their offenses. It makes it fun to watch. And I think this is why you might be seeing a little decline on the viewership, especially in the NBA, because it's just so it's kind of boring to watch. And I watch it because we have to cover it here. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch it out of pleasure anymore. I don't even watch it the way that I used to watch it, because it's a bunch of throwing the ball around and shooting threes, and it's not fun to watch as much anymore.
And there's not as many ways to get to it, right? It does seem kind of monoculture. It seems like everyone, is taking an idea and copying it, which we see all the time, right? When a team has success to the level that the Golden State Warriors did with those types of players, building the mini dynasty that they did, and then seeing Boston win a title as another, not just jump shooting, but 3-point shooting team. Teams are going to copy success. Whereas in college, Strick, obviously not every team has NBA caliber athletes. If you're in the NBA, you're an NBA caliber athlete. If you're in college basketball, you're not necessarily an NBA caliber of athlete. So I think college coaches have to be a little bit more creative with what they have versus what they want. You do see more stylistic differences because there's a room for a Houston under Kelvin Sampson. Bill Self is still not afraid to play two bigs. Izzo and Williams will really, Izzo and Hubert Davis now will really run in transition. Nate Oates is kind of doing the pace and space thing at Alabama. And I think that's a good launching point, Strick, because Houston and Alabama were involved in this Players Era Festival tournament out in Las Vegas. It was for NIL. They weren't the only teams involved. I mean, Oregon and Texas A&M were there. You also had Creighton and San Diego State involved in that tournament as well. Dion on YouTube says Nebraska seems to have broken Creighton. Teams now have a blueprint. Yes, until Creighton shoots the ball better, teams are going to follow what Nebraska did. Get in front of Kalkbrenner, get behind Kalkbrenner, make Pop Isaac score 25 points a game, and Creighton's other role players shoot it better than the 29.9% from three Creighton's currently shooting it. But Strick, I think that the bigger question, more so than anything specific about the basketball, is do you like that there's a tournament where programs receive NIL money, and is that something you would like to see Nebraska get involved with down the line?
So there's two parts to that, Austin. For me, I look at it as, do you see other entities like the Era basketball tournament, Players Era Festival? Do you look at them as a model in the future, right? And I'm saying on multiple fronts. I'm saying, is this something that a way for a bowl, the original bowl games, is this a way for them to drum up more interest? Maybe a couple of them follow suit and say, hey, this bowl is not just going to be for, obviously it's the winner, they get a certain, but there's some form of a bonus that's attributed to it outside of just the money that they make, that would allow them to get a certain amount of NIL money attributed to them upon the win. Definitely other tournaments. There's a lot of tournaments out there. What would entice a team to want to go? Yes, there's some benefits to going. Yes, there's some, you get a level of raising your profile. Yeah. Raising your profile or whatever by playing in these different tournaments, so forth and so on. But I think that's interesting concept, and I think it's one that would how are you going to get the best of the best to want to come? I think it's a good model to look at in the future, especially the landscape of the day with NIL.
I think that let's just take the Nebraska specific example here, right? Nebraska going out to the Diamond Head Classic in Honolulu. Nebraska's gone to Myrtle Beach before. They've done the ESPN Events Invitational. Charleston, I think they've been close to doing if they haven't done it before. Nebraska probably in the next handful of years won't get invited to one of the big boys, right? Those would be the Maui Invitational or the Battle for Atlantis, right? That's not necessarily Nebraska's lane. They're going for some more established basketball powers and basketball brands. Not to say Nebraska can't get there, but to me, Strick, it comes down to, for Nebraska, would you rather go and be the favorite in a tournament like the one that Nebraska will be playing in Hawaii? Because I think if you look up and down that roster of teams, it's going to be slightly underwhelming if Nebraska doesn't go out and win it. Now, I know it's down the road. There's a lot of time here, but there's not the same lineup of teams in the Diamond Head Classic as there was at the Maui Invitational. There is in the Battle for Atlantis. So does Nebraska want to headline a second or third tier multi-team event? Or does Nebraska just want to try to angle its way to one of these, like a Players Era Festival, where it can get some money in the war chest for NIL? I don't think there's a wrong answer, because if you can hang a banner, you can hang a little flag, a pennant, whatever it is, and say, hey, we're competitive against these non-conference teams. We're winning multi-team events. We're portable. We can play against different styles. We can take the show on the road. There's value in that, but there's also value in, hey, Nebraska basketball NIL is not great right now. They're doing the best they can. They're making the most of it to the degree that they can. But if Nebraska got an invite to a multi-team event where they're not the favorite, where they might feel like a throw into some of the brand name teams, but it's a good opportunity for Nebraska against some bigger brands, and they get some NIL for it, I would be all for Nebraska taking those opportunities in the near future instead of trying to go 2-1 or 3-0 at one of these lower level sort of MTEs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth one. You get to find out a lot about who you are as a team, as a program, where you are. There are good benchmarks you can find in those types of tournaments as well. But on top of that, if you can earn some money for the NIL, it's a good way to do it. It's tough. I think Fred's staffing needs to have guys that are focused on specific areas. You've got Ernie that's focused on recruiting. He's pretty much out on the road. Then you have, Nate and those guys doing scouting and they're taking care of the business on the court. And then Fred has to do a little bit of both. I think having him to, be focused on other areas, and then a team that gets out and draws him out into those meetings when he need him to, or to identify, hey, this is a group that you need to be at, or similar to recruiting, but it helps him to balance it out. I think programs need that part of it too, because it's a different monster that they have to take on.
I do want to touch on Nebraska's win over South Dakota, Strick, coming off a win over Creighton in Omaha. It was a big one. Nebraska gets to come home instead of going out to one of these multi-team events, right? Creighton loses to Nebraska, immediately hits the road for Vegas. Blue Jays are 0-2 out there. They're scuffling right now. I think it was big for Nebraska, like we talked about, to come home. It was a much better crowd than I anticipated. Wasn't a sellout, but there was, it wasn't easy to tell where the pockets of empty seats were. So it was a good crowd on hand. It was a little bit of a track meet of a game. Nebraska loses Juwan Gary early on. He gets poked in the eye. Berke Boyktengel kind of tumbles over for a traveling call. Something muscular with his hip. We're still awaiting final word on what the verdict is for those two guys. Nebraska will play North Florida on Sunday, and we'll see about their availability. But Strick, I was in the building, and I thought Nebraska took care of business against South Dakota, which is really all you can ask. It's a team that wanted to play fast, and Nebraska's counter early on, Strick, was size. That's something that we know Nebraska is big, and Nebraska did a pretty good job of, like you've been asking for, run when they have opportunities, but slow it down in the half court and make life difficult for South Dakota in the half court with size and with length. Well, with Juwan Gary out and Berke Boyktengel out, really Braxton Mia was the size for Nebraska. Andrew Morgan came in and relieved him. Those guys both had their moments in the second half. So I think, Strick, South Dakota was able to play the game the way they wanted to in the second half. The Coyotes end up winning the second half 44-42. But Nebraska hung in there, playing a style it's uncomfortable with and not built for playing, right? South Dakota had incredible pace, incredible tempo offensively. That's not how Nebraska was built. That's not how this roster was built. But, Strick, I saw Nebraska play a way it wasn't accustomed to build and wasn't comfortable playing, and yet they still had decent success with it against not a great team, but not a pushover either. So regardless of the score and stat lines, I thought that was a positive sign coming out of Wednesday night.
Again, what you wanted to not see is a letdown. You didn't get that. Here's why that's not the case. You come out in the first half and you put up 52 points, or is it, I think 52 or 54? 54. Yeah, you put up 54 points in the first half. Yo, that's getting it done. That's coming out with some intensity, some focus. And to score 96 points in the game, bro, that's a style that we haven't seen. Now, Nebraska definitely was a high scoring team, 76, 77 points a game. Those are good numbers. If you're scoring at those type of clips, Austin, that's going to give you chances to win, especially if you're a solid defensive team, which Nebraska had shown themselves to be. That was a question for this Nebraska team. They didn't really have lockdown guys. Bryce is okay. He's capable when he wants to be. Juwan when he wants to be. They need to be leaders in that. I think Raleigh does a great job defensively as well. But those guys with that size on the interior, they took advantage. They understood the game plan. They understood the mission. They got out and did that. Morgan with his physicality and size on the inside, getting to the free throw line and completing that. What you saw, though, for what we've been asking on the football side, Austin, is a complete game. Mm-hmm. I personally, from the outside looking in, thought you can tell me better, and I'd love your explanation. I thought they played a pretty complete game, being that certain things were missing. Juwan missing, guys were missing. Other guys came in and stepped up, i.e. Connor Essegian comes in, and when he got rolling, they kept finding him. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the things that was important on that aspect for them. But you're talking about a team that had been struggling from the three-point line, goes for almost 40% from three in this game, taking a lot of them, probably more than what they would normally take. But when you got a season rolling, that's probably that number is going to inflate a little bit. But on the other hand, a team that shoots a high clip themselves, you did another good job of keeping them under 30%. So in every aspect of this game, they dominated from the field goal percentage, from three-point percentage, from free throw percentage. Didn't shoot as many as they have been shooting, but they shot at an 81% clip. You're talking about domination at the rebound, and the number that we've been talking about and we've been asking for, Austin, is that the assist number be up there. And that assist number is phenomenal when you're talking about them scoring 24 assists on the game to add with 10 steals. They're still doing all aspects of that on the defense, getting hands on balls, deflections, getting and turning them over and turning those over into points, i.e. how you get to 90 points. That's how you got to do it. And they did it in a spectacular way.
Yeah, I would say it's a game that I'm going to grade on a curve because Nebraska hasn't had to play without Juwan Gary or Berke Boyukdengel knowing they're not available. So it wasn't perfect in the second half. Fred Hoiberg said he wanted more defensive edge and intensity. I'm going to credit South Dakota for playing faster than any opponent Nebraska's played all year. It looked like Creighton speed and even faster at some points. So when a team plays that fast, it's harder to be crisp and communicate when there's so much to watch out for. You're without your most vocal guy and one of your highest energy guys in Gary and Boyukdengel. So credit Fred Hoiberg and his staff for holding them to the same standard. I'll grade him on a curve a little bit. It did get a little hairy in the first half. South Dakota cut it down to a 6-point lead, down from 13. I think it was 31-25. But then Strick, maybe the most positive sign from the game outside of Essegian doing his thing and Nebraska finding him was, again, level of competition in mind, Summit Conference or not. Bryce Williams took over. When it got to 31-25, he had a personal 10-0 run, 2 threes, a dunk, and a layup. It was back to a 16-point lead. Timeout, South Dakota. Now, we need to see that from Bryce Williams against the Power Conference team, right? It would have been nice to see that last year against Illinois or find a way to do that last year against Texas A&M. But we didn't see Bryce Williams just take over a 2 or 3 minute stretch of a game very often last year. So I think it was a step in the right direction for him, regardless of competition, to show that he's at least capable of doing it, that he can be that guy to step up for this team.
Well, that's been something that we've questioned. I've shared some videos of you with you of teams like Rutgers with Harper and guys like that. When it comes time to and you need buckets. I mean, they ended up coming up short against Alabama, but at the same time, get him the rock and go to work. You know what I'm saying? He didn't need a whole bunch of space and didn't need a bunch of picks, and there was just times where he just get the ball in the wing, set you up, hit you with something, and get to the rack. And that's something we hadn't really seen or didn't know that Nebraska had the capability of. Those are some of the questions I had. When it comes time to really need and get a bucket, who's that guy? And you hope it's Bryce, but it's good to see him, and hopefully he'll get a little bit of confidence out of that with a game like this.
Plenty more to talk about with this game. I'm sure we'll do that as we move forward. Nebraska handled the press pretty well. You mentioned the 24 assist streak, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, but Nebraska had 10 turnovers in the first half, cut it down to only 2 turnovers in the second half. That's growth. That's adjustment. That's learning. Huskers handled the pressure better as the game went on. A couple texts on the text line as well. I'll respond to those over break. We want to talk about the NFL on Thanksgiving, though. 3 games with storylines, right? Lions, Bears, Cowboys, Giants, and Packers, Dolphins. We got some takeaways from all of those. We want yours as well. 402-464-5685. Cubsker, Thunder Knock Collins, Texter 1000. Appreciate you guys being up and with us on the text line. Dion on the YouTube stream as well. He's Strick. I'm Austin. NFL Thanksgiving recap when we get back.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Beecham from Brand Lincoln Podcast and Perch Merch, your go-to in Lincoln for printing and promotional needs. Speaking of that, we are running a huge hoodie sale now through November 30th to save you big money on great brands. 20% off everything from Nike and Bella Canvas pullovers to Gildan and Port & Company sweatshirts and district fleeces. Get yours for your group or organization today by calling us at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a few flurries are possible, otherwise mainly sunny and calm with the high around 37. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and a low near 20. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and the high near 34. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. Strick here in Dallas, as well as with my partner there in studio in Lincoln, Nebraska, Austin Orman. We're going to get into an NFL recap right now, talking about what happened over the weekend, over the Thanksgiving holidays, the games that you had your eyes on, you were putting your interest in while you were sitting there with a belly full of food and halfway sleep while you were sitting on the couch, probably dozed off, woke up, You saw some storylines. You saw some things happening, some good games, some bad games, some situations that happen after games. And we're going to talk all about that right now. We have the NFL recap. We'll start with the Lions, one of the best teams in NFL right now. They happen to survive. Woo! Close call, close encounters of the third kind. It wasn't actually a lot of aliens or anything like that were involved in this. It was alien for the fact that they were able to hang tough with the Lions during this game, but ultimately it ended up with a crash and burn for Matt Eberflus, who ended up getting fired after the game after continuous taking L's throughout the season. Just doesn't seem to be working out there. But first, let's talk about that. How do you feel about the Lions and the closeness of the game? Or is this just a testament of the Lions, Austin, in that they're doing what they need to do, what they're supposed to do? It happens. Teams play well, and you have to fight games out like this. What was your take on that Lions Bears game?
I didn't get to watch all of it. I was watching it, spotty coverage a little bit throughout the early afternoon. Credit Detroit, right? They're a good team. They got out to a big league, and it kind of felt like they kind of put it in neutral and started coasting, whereas Chicago, trying to keep any faint playoff hopes alive, trying to show a spark with Caleb Williams in charge at quarterback, played their butts off in the second half. But the portion of the game I caught most clearly, Strick, was the Bears' final drive. Bears have a 4th and 4. They convert it, but then there's an offensive pass interference call on Cole Kmet, wipes off the conversion. Bears facing down 4th and 14. Well, they take a shot. Caleb Williams rolls the pocket. Defensive pass interference on the Lions. So there you go. Chicago has a new life. They're driving down to get into field goal range. On second down with just about 40 seconds to go, no one gets open. Caleb Williams can't get on platform to throw the ball away. He takes a sack. So 36 seconds left. It's third and infinity, essentially. Clock's running, and the Bears don't take a timeout. In the moment, part of me understood it. Part of me wondered why they were doing it. Because really, you're faced with two choices. Do you take the timeout now, try to get a first down on this third down play, and if you do get a first down, you hustle up to the line and then you spike it? You wouldn't have much time left, but that's one thing. Is convert on third, spike on first. Or what actually happened is that the Bears didn't take the timeout. They were trying to get a play in pretty quickly, so then they could take the timeout if they either didn't convert the third down, or if they did, they would take the timeout to set up their first down play from there. That's what Matt Eberflus said. He said it's a situation where you get the play in, snap the ball, get it off, get the play off, and then call timeout. Okay. Is that maybe traditional? No. I can at least see the argument for it. Caleb Williams said part of the reason it took so long to get that play off, the reason the Bears only ran one play in 36 seconds, was because he didn't like the look at the line from the play call, and he realized that his coach wasn't going to use the timeout. So what he did was he changed the play to set up the shot to Rome Odunze. That wasn't the play, right? I think the Bears had called something to get a first down and then use their timeout, but Caleb Williams realized just how much time was ticking off the clock and said, we won't have time for two more plays. We got to go for the end zone in the win. Odunze had a step on his defender. Ultimately, it ends up falling short. So it's not traditional football. It's not the way most people would have drawn it up. Despite everything going that poorly, the Bears got the one-on-one matchup that they wanted. They put the ball in their quarterback's hands. He had a matchup with his highly drafted receiver as well. They just missed the shot. Play better first half. You're maybe not in that position. Stop being the Chicago Bears. You're probably not in that position. I mean, they are
the Bears.
The Bears are like Nebraska levels of cursed in one-score games, especially under Matt Eberflus. Here's this, Strick. In the last 30 NFL seasons, 1,501 times, there's been a team that's lost a game by 1 to 3 points in regulation and regular season or postseason. Of those 1,501 games, the Bears are the only team to run a play from inside the opponent's 30, have time expire without bringing the field goal unit out and without using all their timeouts. The Bears did something unprecedented In 30 years of football, in the modern NFL, it has never been done. The Bears found a way to do it. They have some momentum. They lose it. They get new life. Looks like things are fine. All you have to do is act like a normal team. You get a field goal, you go to overtime, you take your chances. But no, the Bears couldn't even manage that. And then they trot Matt Eberflus out today for his press conference and then fire him afterwards. They let the man go to the podium and say he thinks he's safe, and then they fire him later. Bears, why?
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's basically what's going on, man. It's always going to come down to, in those situations, they're not going to be able to remove players. They're not going to be able to. They can bench guys and they can do things like that, but it's going to come down to the coach, and that's the thing about it, Austin. And you have situations like that. It speaks volumes to more that's going on with the organization, and it's unfortunate. And I thought they played a pretty good game for the most part, and they put themselves in a position to at least give themselves a shot to win, and to not take that shot is definitely something. It's an error on their part. But shout out to you got something? Go ahead.
The only other thing on this game, real quick, is Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator they just brought in, is going to be elevated to acting interim head coach. Good for him. He's a bright offensive mind in the league. Absolutely deserves his shot. But Strick, that's kind of tough because now it's Caleb Williams will have his third offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. Even if Thomas Brown is still calling the plays. And again, good for him. I'm glad he gets a shot. Hopefully it goes well for him. But for the development of Caleb Williams, he's been on a little bit of an upward trajectory, even against a pretty tough schedule that the Bears have faced over the last month or so. To mess with him again and bring in another offensive voice as play caller, that's tough. Even if it's a good move to promote Thomas Brown, it's wildly unfortunate timing for what it does to Caleb Williams and his development.
Speaking of timing, there's a big game that'll be happening next week between the Detroit Lions and the Pack, where we look on the Sutter Hammond text line. We have Mississippi Mud Dog, who states the Lions losing next week. Go Pack, go.
Call your shot, Mud Dog.
Call your shot, speak it out, put it into the universe. Speaking of that, the Green Bay Packers had a dominating performance against the Miami Dolphins. I know that your boy, Shaky Jakey, is a little bit upset right now about what's going on down there. I think their expectations were very high, and it speaks to the question of, is Miami kind of prima donna-ish? Are they soft as cottonelle? Do they even have an opportunity to have success? Because it seems to me there's a few things. If they're not playing in Miami, it's no bueno. If they've got to go up north, they've got to deal with some cold. They got, especially in the playoffs, it's a no bueno. It's no bueno for them. So for them, they want to put themselves in a position to have a long tenure of play in the playoffs down in Miami, as opposed to having to go somewhere. How do you view the L that they took on Thanksgiving? Is there a prima donna-ish attitude? And how do you foresee going forward as they press towards a playoff run?
That's now 0-8 in Tua Tagovailoa's tenure in Miami when a game's kickoff temperature is under 40 degrees. That's crazy. You play in the AFC. If you played in the NFC, okay, you can go play in Dallas. You can go play on the West Coast, something like that. Really, unless you go to Philly, New York, or I guess Green Bay, Washington, right? There's more domes in the NFC, more warm weather places in the NFC as well. In the AFC, though, think about where you're going. Kansas City last year for Miami, Baltimore, Buffalo, even Cincinnati you can throw in that conversation. Cold, cold, cold. And it wasn't all to his fault last night. He wasn't great in the first half. He played much better in the second half. I mean, if you look at the box score, 365 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think it was really a 30-17 game. I think that's closer than the score indicated. So it's a problem generally with Tua, but he at least showed, okay, maybe he's not the entire problem. Stricky, 20 missed tackles and 132 yards after contact for Green Bay. Mike McDaniel did not look comfortable in the cold weather last night. And again, fine. It's freaking cold. It's Green Bay in late fall, early winter. I don't blame you for being cold and uncomfortable, but man, your defense is going to play like that. You're the offensive play caller, offensive mastermind. I get it. But think about the example you're setting for your team. If you're letting on or showing how uncomfortable you are, they're going to play like it, and Miami showed it. So it wasn't a good look for them last night. I am officially attaching the soft label to Miami if it wasn't already there. They are not built for the AFC playoffs because they can't perform under conditions like these. Credit Tua for playing better, but no, Miami's not a serious threat in the AFC if they can't handle the elements.
There it is. And as we quick shift, two bad teams happen to also it's crazy when you talk about that. Normally you're looking at the Lions and the Bears as maybe those teams. Yes, it's storied franchise with Chicago, but definitely one storied in the negative for the Lions. But they ended up being one of the better games on Thanksgiving and one of the better teams that they played. Now, two bad teams in the NFC North in that the Cowboys and the Giants faced off, and they were able to get it done, winning by 27-20, having a pick six. It was a great awareness play, tips the ball, catches it, and goes into the end zone to close out the game. But does this secure Mike McCarthy's return?
Whether it should or not, it might. Jerry Jones is on record as saying, I don't think it's crazy at all about possibly bringing Mike McCarthy back, right? It's the Super Bowl winning coach. Mike McCarthy has been there and done that. He has great ideas. We got a lot of football left is something that he said just last week on the radio. Stricky, Dallas is a mess. You are down there right now. I'm sure you've heard from plenty of people with ties to the Cowboys, attachments to the Cowboys that root for him, played for him, whatever it is. They're not in a good spot right now, right? It's not all the Dak contract, problem, right? There's a lot of money being thrown around. There's a lot of words being thrown around and not always a lot of action. Do I think Mike McCarthy is the right guy to lead Dallas to the Super Bowl? No, I don't necessarily. But I can just picture Dallas making an even worse decision. And sure, some of the blame goes on Mike McCarthy, but not all of it, right? If they're going to fire him because of lack of results, fine. They have the basis to do it after a bad year this year, but he's had them in the playoffs before this year, right? I still think he's a good coach. I think who would you rather have, Mike McCarthy or Bill Belichick? Mike McCarthy or Mike Vrabel, right? That's really the conversation, I think, right now for Dallas, unless they're going to do the, break glass in case of emergency option and try to lure Prime down to Dallas. I don't know how that would work. You don't know how that would work. Jerry doesn't know how that would work. So you don't not make a move because you feel like you don't have better options, but you also don't make a move to get rid of Mike McCarthy because you assume there have to be better options out there. I think Dallas, this is a decision, whether they fire him or they retain him, this is one they have to think through and think carefully about and not just act, irrationally.
Well, you guys are familiar with this. Before we go to break, there's two things. If you live in a neighborhood or you have HOAs or whatever, that there's two types of cans that you can throw things into. One being trash that goes out, and the other being recycle that you save. It's going to come down to probably, as long as he doesn't lose the team, it's very possible that they may throw Mike McCarthy into the recycle bin and bring him back. And so that's something that we're going to keep an eye on. Thank you guys for tapping in. For those who also chimed in on the Sauter Haven text line, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And are we going to give some Stricken away since we didn't have it on yesterday? Also, what are we going to do?
You know we are. We're not going to play the full shootout. We'll just do the tiebreaker question again. Stricky, make it simple for people. How about that?
There it is. We'll be right back. You know who we are on the block. 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back after this.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nebraska's Christmas Light Show is back and bigger than ever. The Magical Lights of Lincoln Christmas Show runs from Black Friday through New Year's Eve at Sandhills Global Event Center. Bring the family for a show they'll never forget, featuring over 1.5 million lights. Cost is $25 per vehicle from Monday through Thursday, $30 on Friday and Saturday, and also $30 on Christmas Eve and Day. Purchase your tickets online today at ChristmasLightsInLincoln.com and get ready to experience a drive-through light show like you've never seen before.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1003769, $395 per month, lease for 36 months with proof credit, 7,500 miles per year, $52.50 with signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See delivery details.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Beecham from Brand Lincoln Podcast and Perch Merch, your go-to in Lincoln for printing and promotional needs. Speaking of that, we are running a huge hoodie sale now through November 30th to save you big money on great brands. 20% off everything from Nike and Bella Canvas pullovers to Gildan and Port & Company sweatshirts and district fleeces. Get yours for your group or organization today by calling us at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a few flurries are possible, otherwise mainly sunny and calm with the high around 37. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and a low near 20. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds, the high near 34. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's very rude of you to be sitting outside in a short sleeve t-shirt while I'm freezing my butt up back in Lincoln.
I was hoping you didn't notice. I was hoping you weren't paying attention, man. You can't be looking at what's going on the screen when your partner's got a t-shirt on, my guy. Come on, pause.
It hurts my
I
heart.
had to do that for Eric. I had to do that because it's been an hour. So, Eric, I gave it to you today, man. You know what I'm saying? There's your one for the day.
Stricky throwing BP. Stricky giving the layup. Clear path to the rim. We're going to play the shootout with Strick here, just the tiebreaker question. We got some Strickin to give away courtesy of our friends at Buffalo Wings and Rings. They've got a couple Lincoln locations. One of them is at 40th and Old Cheney. The other is just down the street from us. We're at 11th and 0. They are at 66th and 0. So what we'll do is we will go with texter number 5. Over, under, or push will be the answers. Texter 5 with the right answer to this question will win $30 to Wings and Rings. All right, Stricky. Over the weekend, UConn went out to the Maui Invitational. They entered the week ranked number 2 in the country and lost all 3 games in Maui to unranked opponents. They lost to Memphis, they lost to Colorado, and they lost to Dayton. Before UConn, just this last week, Louisville was the last team to lose 3 straight games to unranked opponents as the number 2 team. What year was it that Louisville, as the number 2 team, lost 3 straight games to unranked opponents?
I'm going to say 2017.
Stricky says 2017. Over will be further in the past. Under will be more recently than 2017. And push would be it happened in exactly 2017. 402-464-5685. We'll go to break. We'll give you the answer. We'll give the Stricken away. And then we will dive in to Nebraska football. Wisconsin just lost to Minnesota. Their season is not a success. Can we consider Nebraska's season a success to this point? We'll answer that question. We'll get you set up for some more pregame coverage with our own little hour of Husker football pregame ahead of the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. He's Strick. I'm Austin. This is On the Block. Back with you for hour 2 in just a moment.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Midwest Bank invites you to celebrate with us. Join us for our Christmas open house on Friday, December 6th at our 70th and Pioneers or 27th and Jamie Lane locations. We'll have cookies, coffees, and apple cider waiting for you, along with the chance to enter our raffle for some wonderful prizes. Come share the holiday cheer with us. We can't wait to see you there. Happy holidays from Midwest Bank. Learn more at www.midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering an amazing Black Friday sale for all ticket listeners. You will get the Winter 10-Week Challenge for 40% off and get all of December for free. Start your transformation before the new year arrives. And at the end of the 10-week challenge, someone's walking away with $1,000. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine, and online at fxblincoln.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a few flurries are possible, otherwise mainly sunny and calm with the high around 37. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and a low near 20. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and a high near 34. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here. as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome back in hour 2 of On the Block. Austin Norman in Lincoln, East Strick in Dallas. It's a big Husker football hour here, getting you set for pregame coverage between Nebraska and Iowa. We'll get out of here a little bit before 4. Make sure we get everything in that we need to get you set up for Jake and Zip leading off pregame right at 4. Tricky, we don't have a correct answer on the text line yet. Your guess for the Louisville Cardinals answer was 2017. That was incorrect. The answer was 1986 is how long ago it happened. Louisville coming off a national championship, goes up to the Great Alaska Shootout, loses 3 straight games to unranked opponents. But conveniently, your guess of 2017 is correct because that is the last time any team ranked number 2 in the country lost 3 straight games and then fell out of the polls. So, new trivia question. This is just for the first person in with the right answer for the $30 to Wings and Rings. In 2017, who was the team that was number 2, lost 3 straight games, and fell out of the polls within the first month of the season? 402-464-5685. We'll give you the right answer when we get that on the text line. We also want your Husker football thoughts. We're diving into it. And I think the first question, Strick, is regardless of what happens tonight, between Nebraska and Iowa, Huskers sitting at 6-5, Iowa sitting at 7-4. Is this season a success for Nebraska already? If it's not a success, what do the Huskers have to do to make it turn into a successful season? Can they still make it successful if in your eyes it's not? But let's start with that first one. Has it been a successful season for Nebraska football so far?
All right. So here's the thing. I've always talked about how some programs are built and designed for a supersonic rise based on just their abilities to retain, bring in talent. Then you have to have a quarterback. Let's just be real about it. That's an important piece to the success of any program is to have that quarterback. Now, for example, I'm gonna lay this out, and this is why I think it's a success if this is able to continue at what we've just seen over the last few weeks. One thing that Colorado did, yes, and they've tripped, but you can say that's a success situation, especially after all of the negativity that they endured, right? But here's why it's success. Because they identified some weaknesses, some errors, even maybe some sabotage internally in the coaching. And they eradicated it and they dealt with it immediate. Okay. Mm-hmm. The difference between what they did is they got rid of it immediately, even in the season, took their lumps and got the right person in the right spot to help make the adjustments that they needed there. And I think I want to say it was the offensive coordinator that they had previous. Nebraska stayed with what they had because they just had a uniquely different situation in that they didn't have the quarterback. So you had issues at the quarterback. Sims was not the one that you initially felt that you threw in Harburg. He did the best that he could. It just wasn't there. So you really didn't get to see any of the flaws potentially of what Satterfield posed at the OC position. I would say it was a success because you see Coach Rule identifying certain areas like that. They retained players, they kept players, they took care of the defense, continued to be solid, and the offense then got better after they've identified the issue and the problem. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's been a success because you had a weak element, and that ultimately ended up being the offensive coordinator that caused, I'm not going to say, I think players too as a part of it, but I think there just wasn't some comfort there. I think there was some, just some areas where there just wasn't continuity, or he just wasn't good. Creativity, whatever you want to say. I saw that last year. I wondered about that because that's the one area that you needed to be good at. Misdirection, creativity, creating mismatch situations based on your formations, or just any things like that they needed to do, they didn't do. So I would say it's a success based on that and what we're seeing. Now, I think finishing it off, I would even speak more volumes if they're able to pull off a win on the road against Iowa.
Can you still count the season as a success offensively if Nebraska isn't able to convince Dana Holgorsen to stay on as offensive coordinator? Or is part of the fact that you can say the season could be considered a success is because you think Nebraska has found its next offensive coordinator for hopefully at least the next few years in Dana Holgorsen?
Yeah, I think that's something that obviously we'll evaluate thereafter. I think you definitely notice that there's a change, there's a different. I still think they're a little bit behind the curve because you're going to have to recruit towards the style of that type of offense. Now, some areas that you're going to lose, offensive line. You're going to lose that part of it, of that offensive line being a cohesive unit and being together for quite a lot of games. I don't know the exact total on the amount of games, but definitely a lot of games they've been together. So you're going to lose that. But now you have young receivers, one that that's going to be an integral part of that success going forward, and that's Ja'Cory Barney. But outside of him, on the outside, what do you got? Are the guys coming in going to be able to step up? Is there individuals in that room now that just or have redshirted or just not there yet? Or is it guys coming? Who's going to be next up? Because you're going to need those type of players on the outside because you're not going to have that you've had in this previous year. So there's still some things to evaluate and see.
What about defensively? Has the year been successful for the Nebraska defense, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, you can have one-off games, but I think for the most part, the defense has been pretty solid, especially with injuries at important places on especially in the secondary. I think that's the case. I think they're going to identify guys at the linebacker positions that can run. Especially on the interior linebackers that can run, that can fill gaps, that can cover, that can do a lot of things like that. You're going to find that. But we still yet to identify consistency on the edge. Who's going to be the guy that's going to continuously give you that success? Who's going to be that Micah Parsons type? Now, I'm not saying they've got to be Micah, but like that, with that type of versatility, with that kind of game disruption, who's going to step up and be that person? You're going to lose interior guys. Obviously Ty Robinson's going to move on. Hutchmaker got one more, right? Am I wrong?
Let me double check that.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure. I either think he's close or he was a junior and maybe this is his senior year. I can't remember.
Waiting for it to load by number.
The Sauterheimer text line definitely.
He's listed as a senior. He's listed
as a senior. So, okay, there you go. You're going to lose your two interior guys, which are they were huge at some of the success that you've had on the interior as far as being able to stop. Right. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose that. I was happy to see even progression from Jerry Jeudy. Some areas where he was getting blown off the ball. Elijah Jeudy. I'm sorry. Golly.
Imagine Jerry Jeudy to start the year.
Oh, gosh. Woo. That'd be different. Elijah Jeudy. Yeah, I've seen he's gotten better, but who's going to come in and be those next guys on the interior? We've still got some things we need to see, and are they going to be able to recruit to that?
I'm going to disagree and say I don't think this year was a success for the Nebraska defense. It was fine. They had moments where they were good. They kept Nebraska in some games. They had plenty of big moments. Don't get me wrong. It is still a good defense. But Strick, I don't think it got better from last year, right? Last year, I made the point, I made the case that the defense was good, but if they're going to bring back as many guys as they did to this year's roster, it has to take a step forward if Nebraska wants to seriously contend and compete. it feels like the same defense it was last year, right? The defense was not so dominant as to have taken over a big game and won it, right? I go back to the example against Illinois. Find a way to get a shutdown drive, right? That's a group that's veteran, that's been together for so long and has the playmakers that we thought it did, that did not step up in key moments against Illinois. That's a failed test. I would say the same thing against, say, Ohio State. You go down and take the lead on the number 1 defense in the country at the time in Ohio State. You're asking for one stop against an offense that you've had confounded all day. Right after you take the lead, and you can't go out there and perform in the biggest moment. I would say the same thing against USC. 4th and 1, you need a stop, or even the play before that Jay broke down on the whiteboard on Old School a couple times. 3rd and 10, hold them to 6 or less. They punt, you give your offense the ball because you had just made a huge play. You forced a fumble in opponent's territory. Like, okay, that could be a game-changing moment. Now step up and do it again. We did not see a consistently elite or consistently great defense from Nebraska this year. It was good. It was consistently good. Like you said, one-offs happen. They get gashed from time to time. The other team's on scholarship too. I get it. Maybe it was just my expectation, Strick, and maybe I was off base with my expectation. I want the text line to tell me if I was. But I expected a bigger step forward from the defense this year. I really did. With all the guys that were returning, I thought that, hey, this is another group in a system that they're familiar with, a bunch of guys that they're familiar with. I saw a higher ceiling for this group than it's been able to realize this year. So I'm not saying the defense was bad. I just don't think it was as good as I expected it to be. So I can't say this year was a huge success for the Husker defense.
Understand. Shout out to Augie on the Sutter Heyman text line who throws this at you. And he says this, Austin. He says, it's a success, but disappointing because as fans, myself included, have higher hopes and don't recognize improvement and only expect an immediate resurrection of the TO era. What's your thoughts on that?
I get it. I get where you're coming from, Augie. Appreciate you you chiming in. How do you feel about what happened in Maui, Augie? Tell me that. I'm kidding. We'll stick on football here. Stricky, I really don't think Husker fans are in championship or bust mode anymore. I really don't think that many fans or any fans that I would listen to expected Nebraska to be in the college football playoff this year. I really don't, right? That's why, to me, I mean, obviously that's the hope. That's the dream. You want to have that out there on the horizon as something to build toward and to work toward, something big picture that when you're struggling in the moment to put in that work, to feel motivated or disciplined to go to practice or get an extra lift in, whatever it is, you need a big picture goal like that to remind yourself of why you get out of bed, why you walk through the cold, why you put yourself through that grind in the first place. But I think that for the majority of Husker fans, and again, text line, tell me if I'm wrong, just making a bowl game this year, that's why I'm okay with the fans storming the field. I don't love it, but you can't just take this year on its own. You have to take this year in the context of everything that's come before it. And right now it's a 1-game improvement over last year. The team, had a 4-game losing streak and still, got bowl eligible. They snapped a long streak against Wisconsin. And that's the other data point to keep in mind here, Strick. It's not a comparison game, right? We don't want to look over the fence and try to figure out whose grass is greener, right? That's unhealthy to do in life. But it's also, Matt Rule and Luke Fickell are inextricably linked together, hired at the same time, took over 2 programs that I think the Big Ten wants to be good. Wisconsin went 7-5 with a bowl loss last year. This year, Strick, just today, in fact, they lose to Minnesota 24-7. Put up 0 offensive fight, much less than they did last week against Nebraska. It snaps a 22-year winning streak and bowl streak for Wisconsin. It's the first Wisconsin team since 1991 to lose 5 straight games. It's the second team since 1990 with 7 or more losses. It's a one-off for Wisconsin, really, in the last 22 years. Okay, it happens. But this is maybe what Wisconsin fans would have expected from the drastic changes last year. So no, Nebraska's record isn't going to end up much better than Wisconsin's. But I think Nebraska fans feel better about the trajectory having made a bowl game in year 2 instead of Wisconsin having squeaked into a bowl game in year 1 and then fallen out of bowl contention in year 2.
Okay. And so let me throw this out. For me, I had expectations for Nebraska to find themselves towards the middle of the pack this year. I thought that would be a success. But then as I began to look up, one of the things that you have to do as you continue to climb the leaderboard of a conference, you have to start looking up and seeing who you need to clip off. And this is one of those teams. One of these teams they're about to play is the Iowa Hawkeyes. Because if you want to ever find yourself in the college playoff discussion, you have to get towards, I would say, I don't think they're gonna eclipse Oregon. I don't think they're gonna eclipse Ohio State. I don't think they're going to eclipse Penn State yet. They've got work to do, a lot of work to do. But can you find yourself clipping enough people to become Indiana or that fourth person, that fourth team? Yeah, no, look, Indiana is right now, as far as rankings concerned, they're in that third slot. But can you become the team that puts themselves in that fourth slot and be in the discussion? Win a big non-con fight, win enough in the Big Ten, and maybe clip off a Penn State or one of the Oregon or one of them and find yourself in the discussion. How far, as you look at this team, are they away from that part of it? Because that's what you got to do. You've got to look up and see who you need to beat, who you need to eclipse, who you need to pass in order to find yourself in a position for the discussion.
That's really just the thing, Strick. And I think that we saw just last Saturday against Wisconsin an offense that is capable of putting Nebraska in that discussion, right? If Dana Holgorsen can simplify things for the offense, Dylan Royal hits the simple throws, you get a big play or two every game. That is an offense that the way it operated right there could get Nebraska into at least the upper third, right? That top six where you're in contention to be one of the top four in the Big Ten. The defense, we'll see, it loses a lot of pieces. We're going to see next year just how much development has gone on behind closed doors. Yeah, we've seen these guys sprinkled in and rotate in, and they've played a role, but the defense is going to belong to them next year. There's a lot of young guys that are going to have to step up. So if Nebraska is able to keep all the key pieces from offense, I feel good about that. But Nebraska's going to lose a lot on defense, and that's where, get ready, Husker fans, right? Dana Holgorsen showed you he can run the ball, right? So I think you can cross that off the checklist for things to worry about. But next year, I think Nebraska fans are going to have to go through some growing pains with a younger defense getting its first taste of maybe not necessarily starter reps or starter snap counts, but a unit that's young and has to grow together. It's the twos being elevated to the ones, full game speed Big Ten conference action next year, Stricky.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like, you want to always try to maintain that balance, right? But sometimes it's like a teeter-totter. You know, one seems to look like they're getting better, and they take on some of that weight, and you hope that the other side will be able to balance it out. That's why you just got to hope, like you said, that you developed well, you've recruited well, and you have a good balance of a foundation of younger players that have got reps and have been in games and got some exposure, and then retaining them, keeping them on the roster, because you also got to think now about guys you got to cut. So that plan that you originally had, now you've got to shrink those numbers down because you've got a roster limit that's coming. So now you've got to really think about it, because there's guys that you probably were going to keep and retain and develop, and similar to like what you would have on a NFL roster with what are they called, Austin? Practice squads, you know, and really be able to work with guys, watch them, observe them, you know, stay close with them, but you're not going to really be able to do it at that same level. So it's something that you got to weigh out as well, and you got to hope you've done a good job at your roster balancing, right? You don't ever want to be overloaded on one part of it. And it's the same thing in NFL. It's in a way kind of getting you prepared for what it's like, what you have to do with these rosters. You know, what type of players you're going to have with them, and who's going to be, and who you're going to sign, and who you're going to keep. All of that comes into play now, and that's what we're going to be looking at.
The other area of the team we have to talk about here, Strick, is the special teams. Would you consider this season a success for Nebraska special teams?
I would say, especially in the return game, flop. Especially in the punt return game, flop. they've got to put somebody back there that can get you 10, 15, switch the field a little bit. And they don't really have that guy. They probably do, but they're just not using them or whatever the case may be right now. But they definitely got to do it. Block field goals, all that. Come on, man. Like block punt. Come on, man. Like that stuff you got to shore up. Kick coverages, I think, got better. It was very porous early on, but I think it's gotten better. And I think Bushini did a pretty good job this year on flipping fields at different times with big booming punts. Now they've got to figure out who the kicker is going to be, because there was a lot of inconsistency, a lot of shakiness there. You want to be able to get to that 40, 35 and just feel confident that guy can get you points on the board when you need it.
Yes, I think that they have that part figured out in John Hull. He took over against Ohio State, and he's been money. He's been nails since then. So I think kicker is settled, right? Punter is definitely going to be one to watch, because right now, on the low, Brian Buschini is challenging Sam Cook's school record in terms of yards per punt over the course of a single season. We'll see how tonight's game goes. If he needs to boom some to break the record, if it comes down to John Hull, whatever it is. Punt return isn't a huge positive, but it's not a negative either. Strick, right? Last year, Nebraska was fumbling it, was consistently catching the football inside the 5-yard line, where they should just let it, go over their heads into the end zone or live with the consequences. It was a disaster in punt return last year. So Nebraska has at least avoided that. Still nothing out of kick return. And the missed field goals early on were a problem. So if you would have asked me 6 weeks ago, would this season turn into a success for Nebraska special teams? I would have said, you're off your rocker, right? What point in time did hell just freeze over? But I think there has been legitimate progress from Nebraska special teams this year, right? They figured out the kicking situation. Buschini has gotten more consistent, and the returns aren't killing you. So it's not much progress. It's more of a step toward competency than excellence. But as we saw against Wisconsin, that's really all this team needed was competence, not excellence. So I'm going to give it very mild success, but not a rousing success. Can you get on board with that?
Yeah, I can get on board with that for sure.
Cool.
No doubt.
We're at the bottom of the hour. I think that's a perfect time to go to break. When we get back, we'll dive a little bit into this Nebraska-Iowa matchup. We got some key statistics from the Iowa game notes I want to read for you, Stricky. We also have some missing players for Iowa and plenty more to get to. We're kicking off pregame coverage a little bit early here on The Ticket. He's Strick. I'm Austin. You're listening to On the Block, brought to you by our friends at NEPCO.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato, pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
At Koppel Chevrolet GMC, we are thankful for so many things this year, starting with our great employees, a generous community, our military personnel, and most importantly, our loyal customer base that continues to drive that money-saving mile of Louisville. Hi, this is Sean Callahan, and on behalf of everybody at Koppel, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to wherever they may take you. Happy holidays from Koppel Chevrolet GMC.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals in everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering an amazing Black Friday sale for all ticket listeners. You will get the Winter 10-Week Challenge for 40% off and get all of December for free. Start your transformation before the new year arrives. And at the end of the 10-Week Challenge, someone's walking away with $1,000. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine, and online at fxblincoln.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. Fall is here, which means it's time to dive into a new lineup of autumn flavors at Wings and Rings. Your home away from home during football season. Their all-star lineup of wing sauces is adding 2 new impact players, curry garlic and pumpkin chili. Need something delicious before kickoff? How about starting your meal with their brand new chorizo nachos and loaded fries? You better act fast. These new tastes of autumn won't be here long. So make the trip to one of their 2 Lincoln locations today on O Street or Village Lane.
Midwest Bank invites you to celebrate with us. Join us for our Christmas open house on Friday, December 6th at our 70th and Pioneers or 27th and Jamie Lane locations. We'll have cookies, coffees, and apple cider waiting for you, along with the chance to enter our raffle for some wonderful prizes. Come share the holiday cheer with us. We can't wait to see you there. Happy holidays from Midwest Bank. Learn more at www.midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with the Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Norman, Eric Strickland rolling along with some Nebraska-Iowa pre-game coverage. Got a bunch of stats I want to give you here in just a few minutes. But, Stricky, first things first, we just saw Nebraska men's basketball take down Creighton on the road, right? Back-to-back trips for the Huskers to Omaha. The men's basketball team comes away with a win. Last time Nebraska was in Iowa City, Huskers found a way to get that one done. They brought the Heroes Trophy back home to Lincoln. Is there any part of you that gets the same Nebraska-Creighton vibes for Nebraska-Iowa football? Can the Huskers get it done twice in a row on the road?
I'm going to say they do. I think that they've regained their footing. They have more confidence again going in. I think there's more accountability. There's more understanding of what, like you said, in a simplified manner of what they're doing. with their game planning. And what Iowa does well fits what Nebraska does well on defense, and that's usually stopping the run. The issue is going to come with this game, Austin, is if they're able to run the ball. They're a tremendous running team, and look, they're like Boise State. They're going to keep going. They're not going to stop. They're not going to relinquish. So you've got to be very disciplined, especially in your gap integrity throughout this whole game, filling gaps, turning guys inward, and guys being there to meet the runner as they do on cutbacks and stuff. You're going to have to just be very disciplined, and that's going to keep them out of play action. What you want on this team is to be very one-dimensional. You want them to be very one-dimensional. That's not what they do well. That's not what they've ever done well. But you want them to be able to have to focus, stay behind the chains, stop them on their first downs or second downs. They'll probably even run it on third down. Make sure you're stopping them, and don't give them like they did against Illinois. Just these stepping. You don't want that quarterback getting any confidence at all. And so just the same thing I say for them is just really being very disciplined, stopping the run game, making them one-dimensional. And it does look very reminiscent of what we saw in recent past with this the Creighton win and them going out to Iowa City.
I'm glad you said that, right? Because you're spot on. Iowa is going to run, and run some more, right? They're either down to a third-string backup walk-on former linebacker in Jackson Stratton or Cade McNamara, who they showed very little faith in. They benched him, right? He got hurt, was ineffective as well, and he got benched for Brendan Sullivan, who's now out for the year. So, Strick, this is where I think this is both a player's game and a coach's game for Nebraska, right? Players are going to know their responsibilities against the run. Iowa's playbook probably hasn't changed in 20 years. Dana Holgerson has said as much earlier this week. If your players know what your gaps are, know what your gap is, really, hit it, do your job, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. But at the same time, don't start looking for something else, right? Because I was going to not be afraid to take this game into halftime at 3-3 or 0-0 or 10-9, whatever it could be. They're going to come out, even if they didn't have much success in the first half, and continue to run the ball in the second half. It's who they are. It's what they do. But, Strick, this is where I think coaching comes into play. If you are going to tell your players to focus on the run, to be gap sound, to get low, drop the hips, tackle, drive, all that good stuff, it is important that Tony White and his defensive coaching staffs have spent all week looking at tendencies, looking at situations when Iowa is most likely to throw. You don't want your players, having to try to guess, are they going to run it? Are they going to pass it? Part of the beauty about what Iowa does for them is it's simple. Their players know what they're going to do. It's going to be 2/3 run, 1/3 pass pretty much. If Nebraska can correctly identify the time, the score, the situation that Iowa is going to pass, that's going to go a long way. That's where Iowa has success in the passing game, is off of that play action when they pass off schedule and they would normally run it, or they've been run, and then they finally hit you with it. I want the players focused on stopping the run. I want the coaches focused on what's the time, the score, the situation, the tendency of Iowa's play caller, Tim Lester, for when he finally does decide to throw the football.
Yeah, because in those situations, you want to throw a curveball, because a lot of it is going to be some form of a play action and a deep shot. That's when you might want to throw a blitz at them. Like, don't be so conservative. Like, Nebraska has shown themselves in a lot of ways to be very conservative on the defensive side, and it's very bend but don't break. That's pretty much what I've seen throughout the year. And where they've had success is when they've been able to get there with 4, maybe 5. So you're hoping that those guys, those rush ins, those guys in the interior are able to get pressure, especially in the face, forcing them to get that ball out quicker than maybe they wanted to, or throwing a blitz on them and forcing them to make a dime throw. Now, not leaving the middle open. I think you want to leverage the middle, keep guys out of the middle, force those throws to go to the sidelines. Or to the outs, where if a mistake is made, it could be a pick 6 or it could be a pick. But if you're giving the middle and you're getting beat with middle and you're not getting pressure, that's going to make for a long night. So that's what I think you want to do.
Here are some statistics on the Iowa football rushing attack. Iowa had 2 100-yard rushers last week in the win against Maryland. Caleb Johnson, the lead back, went for 164. Kamari Moulton, the backup, went for 114. First time Iowa's done that since 2016. Against Maryland, Iowa went for 268 yards on 58 carries. Their 8th game of 200 or more rushing yards this season. Their 4th game with at least 250 rushing yards. And that 8 games of 200 plus, Iowa believes, is a program record. Caleb Johnson has scored at least 1 rushing touchdown in every game so far this season for Iowa. That's a program record. He's scored 3 touchdowns in 4 of Iowa's 11 games so far this year. Iowa 5-0 when Caleb Johnson gets to 100 yards rushing. Hey, look at that. Plenty of statistics telling you don't let Iowa run the ball, right? They're going to be consistent, Strick, but when Iowa is most dangerous is when they're also allowed to be explosive in the run game, right? Caleb Johnson has 20 rushes of at least 20 yards, 6 rushes of at least 40 yards, and 9 touchdown runs of at least 25 yards this season. And Iowa has 24 rushes for 20 or more yards so far this year. If you're Nebraska, Strick, would you rather give up the occasional big play and save some body blows? Or do you trust this defense to absorb the body blows and find a way to stand up in the fourth quarter, and they should focus on preventing the explosives?
Well, that's the lesson that you need to learn. I think you've got to take the body blows and keep punching, right? You've got to, if you have to get on the rope-a-dope and do the Muhammad Ali and be on the ropes and take a few before you can land the big blow, hopefully a turnover, hopefully an interception, hopefully a fumble, just keep playing. Because what has happened in times is that we've seen them stop, but then can't get the stop. That's not what we want to see. We want to see you just continue. And hopefully the offense, that's where they've struggled. The offense just hadn't been able to finish it off whenever the defense has implemented their bend but don't break style of defense. Hopefully that changes where you get enough stops, the offense is able to put up enough points on the board, forcing Iowa to do something they're not comfortable with doing, taking away a lot of that run game, or letting them run and just, get you 4 or 5, but be there. Don't let the big plays happen. Don't let the big 40, 50-yard runs happen. You can let the 8, 9, 10 every now and then happen. Because if you break out on a good enough lead, what's going to end up happening is that's going to be running clock. You're okay with that. So that's the way I envision it. I'm hoping that's a plan that the offense is able to get out to a good start. If I'm them, I'll take the ball. I go and try to put a score on the board, force them to have to, feel that they need to, get back, and then do your thing, get a stop, hopefully get another chance, get some good field position, and go down and put it in. Red zone offense has to be good. They can't, if they change in threes, if it's a 6-0 game, like you said, Iowa's okay with that. They happy. They cool. That's all right for them. So when you get into the red zone or you're able to make big plays, go make them and finish them off.
Let's finish off the show next. Short break. We'll wrap up on the block. Get set up for the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show when we return.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with the Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Davis Plumbing is a locally owned company specializing in a wide range of plumbing services for both commercial and residential customers. Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and has a team of experienced plumbers ready to help you with any project, big or small. Customer satisfaction and peace of mind is their number one priority. So for any commercial or residential project, give Davis Plumbing a call today at 402-525-6922. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Fall is here, which means it's time to dive into a new lineup of autumn flavors at Wings & Rings. Your home away from home during football season. Their all-star lineup of wing sauces is adding 2 new impact players, curry garlic and pumpkin chili. Need something delicious before kickoff? How about starting your meal with their brand new chorizo nachos and loaded fries? You better act fast. These new tastes of autumn won't be here long. So make the trip to one of their 2 Lincoln locations today on O Street or Village Lane.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One final segment for us before we turn it over to Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple to kick off the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Big thanks to Nebco for everything they do for us. Their constructors brand is looking for mechanics specifically. If you're a mechanic looking for a fresh start in your field, could not recommend the people at Nebco and Constructors anymore. Highly nebcoinc.com or constructorslincoln.com to check that out. One other thing from the game notes I think is going to be really interesting to monitor here at Strick. No Jamari Harris for Iowa. Cornerback was banged up a little bit. He's sitting out to rehab that and prepare for the NFL draft. But Iowa has forced 22 turnovers in 11 games. They've picked off 16 passes and have recovered 6 fumbles. Those 22 takeaways from the Hawkeye defense lead the Big Ten. It's 8th nationally. 16 interceptions are the most in the Big Ten and the most they've had since 2021. The Iowa defense, Strick, has had an interception in every game this season. That's going to be interesting to watch because Dylan Raiola took much better care of the ball last week against Wisconsin and probably slightly better care of the ball against USC than he had in the previous 3 games of the losing streak for Nebraska. Just how important is it for Dylan Raiola to not put the ball in harm's way, but also take the shots that are available to him tonight?
Well, that's what Iowa's banking on. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on that they're going to put pressure. They're going to throw crazy blitz packages. They saw what that does to Nebraska. They've been better at it, but at the same time, they're going to try to force him to make a mistake, to overthink, to just react on a play as opposed to reading a play, getting that ball out, holding it a little bit longer than they want him to, so that he can make a mistake. That way they can get good field position. They could do what they do and do well, and that's run the ball, score, and then put the pressure back on you. So that's what their game plan is going to be. We're hoping that Raiola is just mentally acute and prepared, knowing that that's what they're probably going to do for him, and come at him with, is trying to force him to speed up in his decision-making processes and then just make a mistake.
What's your score, Stricky? What you got tonight? Huskers or Hawkeyes?
2014 Huskers.
Ooh, 2014. I like it. And that's a really interesting pick, Strick, because Nebraska has some really bad streaks that go back to 2014, especially against Iowa. Nebraska lost every game in that series from 2015 through 2020. 2014, Nebraska won in overtime in Iowa City. That was the walk-off touchdown pass from Tommy Armstrong to Kenny Bell. And to this day, Strick, that touchdown from Armstrong to Bell, those are the last points Nebraska has scored in overtime since then. Like, how's that even possible?
We don't want an overtime game, so we don't want a bunch of firsts in that, in by that means. But we definitely would like them to play well, and if they have to pull out for one-score game, be mentally prepared to do it, and willing to do it, and give everything you have to do it, to come home with the trophy.
It is about time for Nebraska to win a one-score game. Eastrick, my partner, glad you had a happy Thanksgiving. Glad you're getting time with the family. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the warm weather while it lasts. Try to bring some of that back with you on Monday. We'll talk to you soon, partner.
All right, my friend. See y'all later. Love y'all.
That's Eastrick. I'm Austin. Appreciate y'all for tuning in here too on The Block. Do not go anywhere. No old school. We're jumping right into pregame. 6:30 kickoff between Nebraska and Iowa from Iowa City. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show starts momentarily.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag